Form I-9 The Basics Training video will give a basic overview on how to complete an I-9. Please use the hyperlinks and other references provided in this training for more in-depth information. The objectives of this video is to define the purpose for using Form I-9, give step-by-step instructions on how an employee and employer should complete it, give guidance on compliance, provide resources so employers can find specific answers to their Form I-9 questions. The Employment Eligibility Verification Form I-9 is a U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services form. It is used by an employer to verify an employee's identity and to establish that the worker is eligible to accept employment in the United States. U.S. employees must complete Form I-9 regardless of their U.S. citizenship status no later than 3 days after the hire date. For a full copy of Form I-9, click on the hyperlink. You may want to print a copy to follow along with this training video. Before completing the form, make sure that you have the current version dated no later than March 8, 2013. The form date can be found on the lower left-hand corner of the document. Form I-9 has 9 pages. Pages 1 through 6 give detailed instructions on how the employee and the employer must complete their respective sections of the form. Instructions must be available to the employee at the time the form is being completed. Form I-9 has 3 sections. In Section 1, the employee must complete all applicable fields related to their personally identifying information. It is important to note that the Social Security number and email address are not required fields. Make sure the employee marks the correct box relating to their current citizenship status and provide any information to authenticate that selection. For instance, if they are a lawful permanent resident, the employee must provide the alien registration USCIS number on the line provided. After completing all required fields, have the employee sign and date the form. A common mistake made when employees complete Form I-9 is filling in the preparer and/or translator certification fields. These fields are only required if a third party assists the employee in completing the form. Section 2 is completed by the employer or authorized representative. Use the employee's ID to document the name in the box provided. Page 9 of 9 of the I-9 gives 3 lists of acceptable identification that can be documented as proof of identity and work authorization. List A establishes both identity and employment authorization, so no other ID is required if the employee provides the acceptable ID from List A. Take a moment to review List A. List B and C work together. List B only establishes identity. List C only establishes employment authorization, so ID from both lists are necessary to complete this section. Take a moment to review Lists B and C. After documenting the acceptable ID, the employer or authorized representative must certify the form by completing all applicable boxes. The form must be certified within 3 days of the employee's first date of employment. If the employee is hired to work less than 3 days, the I-9 should be completed no later than the first day of employment. It is important to note that Form I-9 is subject to inspection, so if the form is not completed timely, the employer can incur a fine. Section 3 is reserved for re-verifying the identity and work authorization of rehires. An employer can use an I-9 dated within 3 years of the rehire date. If the employee's name has been changed, write the new name in box A. Also, verify that the employee's identification has not expired. If so, write the unexpired identification information in box C using acceptable ID from List A or C. Finally, the employer or authorized representative must sign and date the section. It is imperative that employers complete and properly store Form I-9. Refer to the hyperlinks on this page for in-depth information about I-9 compliance. Remember to read all 9 pages of the Form I-9 and make sure that you provide the instructions to the employee at the time the Form I-9 is being completed. Click the Workforce Solutions hyperlink for upcoming I-9 and other training opportunities. Also, you can find the current version of Form I-9 and other helpful sites by clicking on the hyperlinks on this page. Thanks for watching.